Scottsdale Police will have a unit dedicated to loud or out of control parties.
Team 12's Mitch Carr explains what the unit will do and how it will work.
As soon as we saw that there was caution tape, we knew exactly which house it was. We knew exactly what was going on.
Anna Lyons and her husband were walking their dogs early one morning in July of 2020 when they came home to a crime scene. A short-term rental home down the street had hosted a party, and that party had ended in gunfire. The gunfire was a first. The party was not.
They would just line the streets with cars. People would get super rowdy and leave alcohol bottles littered in the street. And people actually changed in our driveway one time for one of the parties. They came to our driveway and changed into their bathing suits right in front of our windows.
Scottsdale tried to regulate short-term rentals, but the state preempted the city. Now the city will just try to enforce civil penalties against property owners and partygoers if they cross the line. Councilwoman Betty Janik says it starts with knowing where the rentals are and who is responsible for them.
Once you hit that emergency contact number, it is easier to try to lessen the noise, the problems with the short-term rentals on a more immediate basis in a more reasonable fashion.
4 officers and a sergeant will be on call to respond to loud or out-of-control parties at known rental homes. They can shut the parties down and fine both property owners and party hosts.
We want this to be a deterrent so that our citizens feel safe in their neighborhoods, they have respectful neighbors, and that people also can come to Scottsdale and have a good time, but know that they have to keep it within the limits and within the ordinance of not being a nuisance party.
Janik says there are more than 6,000 known short-term rentals in the city, but she knows there are more out there from her 2019 city council campaign.
The complaint that I heard most frequently was, my block is ruined, my neighborhood is ruined, we have short-term rentals, they drink, they do drugs, they're wild.
The hope is that more intense enforcement will result in more respectful parties, if not fewer ones altogether.
I think it's good that they're cracking down on this so that people can come and enjoy the area for what it is and not leave the people who live in the area sort of unsettled.
In Scottsdale, Mitch Carr, 12 News.
Sa Glovom je sve brzo. Naručiš šta god želiš. Burger, suši, sladoled, namirnice, pa čak i ovo. Tako brz. Glovo ti donosi za nekoliko minuta. A kad stigne izrazlica ti je wow. Ili ovaj. Preuzmi aplikaciju Glovo i naruči. Glovo. Ti naručuješ, mi dostavljamo.
Hey Psych2Goers, welcome back to another video. Do you feel like your life is in a rut? As the Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu once said, watch your habits. They become your character. Watch your character. It becomes your destiny. Sometimes we just need the right habits to turn our life around. With that said, here are 5 simple but powerful habits that will change you forever. Number 1, work backwards from your goals. Do you remember the last time you set goals and failed? Don't worry, we've all been there. Research from Oxford University shows the best way to achieve a big goal is a method called WOOP, which stands for Wish, Outcome, Opportunity, and Plan. First, identify a challenging goal. That's your wish. Next, vividly visualize the best outcomes from the wish. Then, think of the obstacles that stand between you and your wish. Finally, plan small actions to achieve the goal and overcome your obstacles. A study published in the Journal of Graduate Medical Education demonstrated that the WOOP strategy is more effective than regular goal setting, which is usually too wishy-washy to get results. Number 2, do one thing every day that scares you. When's the last time you stepped outside, not just your comfort zone, but then did something that truly terrified you? It's easy to stick to what's familiar to avoid pain, but life is never going to be completely comfortable. Try to dive in headfirst and embrace challenges. Every day, aim to do one thing that scares you. Try making small talk with a stranger, go skydiving, or ask out your crush. Take opportunities to make the most of life, but please be reasonable and keep safe. We at Psych2Go don't want you to take up lion wrestling. Number 3, remember the end of your life. How often do you think about the end of your life? We know it sounds depressing, but it can actually be exhilarating. When you're mentally stuck in the present, tasks seem urgent, squabbles seem overwhelming, mistakes seem unbearable, and risks seem terrifying. Instead, imagine you're on your deathbed at the age of 80 or 90, looking back on your entire life. When you reminisce on the most significant moments of your whole life, will you remember every little squabble horrible a mistake? What will you regret more? Taking a big risk or staying safe and wondering what could have been? When you think of your life from a future perspective, all your problems become much smaller and your purpose becomes much clearer. Number 4, be playful. Life's too short to be serious. How many of the best moments of your life were full of joy, play, and connection with others? Probably most of them. How many of them were full of seriousness, chores, and routines? Probably not many. All the weird quirks that made life joyful as a child are still yours to nurture in the present if you have a playful attitude. We are not suggesting you neglect your duties, but even these can be turned into games. Any task can easily become a fun challenge or competition if you're awarded points and get rewarded at the end for winning. And number 5, sleep well. After all the previous tips, it's time to close with something simple. Have a good night's sleep, and you will have a good day. Scientists recommend about 6 to 7 hours of sleep each night. Any less and your mental well-being will suffer, even if you don't realize it. Sleep deprivation causes stress hormones to destabilize your mood, block your problem-solving ability, and generally ruin your day. It might be tempting to stay up 1 more hour, but 1 more hour of sleep will pay off much better. Do you think you'll use these habits in your life? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and share this video if you think it will help someone else. The studies and references used are listed in the description below. Until next time, friends, take care and thanks for watching.
Imam toliko toga da uradim, ali pojela bih nešto slatko. Poješću kad završim, ili bolje ne. Zašto čekati? Tako je.
Lions, elephants, and bears. Oh my! 3 of the most beautiful yet intimidating members of the animal kingdom. But what intimidates these creatures, if anything? You might be surprised. Let's take a look. How about we start with the universally recognized king of the jungle, the lion. We'll get to the elephants in a moment, but there's actually one in the room. You know, the one that claims that a certain jungle cat is afraid of the most vital substance known to man? A small hint, it covers 70% of Earth's surface. So, is it true? Is the ferocious lion afraid of water? It's actually a myth. Lions enjoy taking a dip in the water because it allows them to cool off. This makes sense if you think about the climates the creatures have to face. Temperatures in a savanna climate range from 68 to 86 degrees Fahrenheit. You know all of us humans hit the beach whenever the weather is like that. So why should we expect anything different from the lion? Especially given that the creatures typically carry around between 280 and 420 pounds of weight, as well as a thick coat of fur. The ironic thing about this whole lions are afraid of water myth is that they're actually fantastic swimmers. The same goes for all of your other favorite large cats from these warm weather climates, such as tigers, leopards, jaguars, and ocelots. It's actually large cats from cold climates that do their best to avoid water. This applies to such felines as bobcats, lynxes, and snow leopards. The latter lives in places like the cold alpine tundra biome. That's a rocky mountainous area. Temperatures there, on average, get as low as 33 degrees Fahrenheit. Again, it makes perfect sense that these big, cold weather cats despise water. Getting their fur coats wet would dampen their chances of staying warm. Pun intended. I don't think you have to look too far to piece together where this lions are afraid of water myth comes from. In fact, there's a good chance for some of you watching this video that the reason is near your computer screen right now, jumping around and causing mischief. That's right, we may have jumped ourselves to a conclusion that certain behavioral aspects of our own pet cats would match that of a lion. House cats, though related to all the previously mentioned big cats, are not actually directly descended from them. They instead have developed over millions of years from a single wild ancestor that still exists in the wild today, the Near Eastern wildcat. As water is not plentiful in the Middle East, these cats were not exposed to it to any great degree. Like their descendants, they only appreciate it as a food source. As you likely see with your pet, they hardly bathe, swim, or interact with water in general. Lucky for them, they don't even need to. These domestic felines use their tongues to clean themselves. They can do this because their tongues have tiny hook-shaped papillae. They assist cats in grooming out knots and keeping the coat clean, sweet-smelling, and in overall immaculate shape. Cats, in general, are individualistic creatures, and you may be screaming at your screen right now proclaiming that your cat, in fact, loves water. And this is definitely possible. Some cats even like to play with water. For example, drips from the tap or bubbles in the bath. There are specific breeds of house cats that are known to enjoy the aqua life more than others. The Turkish Van, for example, which is also appropriately known as the swimming cat. It's believed that the breed developed an affinity for water by swimming in Lake Van to cool down. This lake is in the area the animals evolved from. Moving on to a problem a cat definitely doesn't have to deal with. Have you ever heard of musophobia, also known as suriphobia? Both words are valid names for a fear of mice and rats. There is a common belief that one particular animal that has this fear is the beautiful elephant. That's right, the same animal that, depending on the species, stands at the height of roughly 10 feet and weighs about 9,000 pounds. It's supposedly afraid of a creature that is a mere 4 inches in length and weighs less than 1 pound. But why did this belief appear? Well, the reasoning for this rumor is based on the possibility that elephants are paranoid about mice climbing inside their trunks. If a mouse succeeded in doing this, there would be a potential that it could cause irritation and blockage within the trunk. Now, I'm not trying to be the guy who spoils parties, but it looks like this belief is also a myth. Researchers claim that there's no concrete evidence that suggests elephants are afraid of mice. The most they'll concede is that the giant animal may sometimes take fright by the sudden appearance of the tiny rodent, which is the exact same for ourselves. Experts also claim that even if a mouse did get inside an elephant's trunk, the latter could effortlessly blow it back out with a puff of air. There's also some evidence that, in most cases, the animal remains unbothered by rodents, and even allows mice to climb on their heads and trunks. Researchers are sure that as long as an elephant is healthy, there's no other animal that it fears, simply because of its size. So, lions aren't afraid of water, elephants don't seem to be afraid of mice, then are any of these animal fear rumors real? We're probably going to be left just as disappointed by asking if a bear has any legit fear, right? Well, ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause for none other than people's best friend. That's right. Bears do feel quite uncomfortable whenever they are around dogs, and all this despite a very distant genetic link to them. When the two creatures encounter each other, the dog has the ability to chase, intimidate, corner, or antagonize the bear. As for the powerful animal, it will instead try to avoid any run-ins with the dog. There's even a type of Finnish dog breed known as the Karelian bear dog. This dog species is specifically used for standing up to large animals, such as bears. This dog has a great sense of direction, body flexibility and control, courage, sense of smell, and persistence. So, does this mean you can walk with your dog through an area known to have bears and feel absolutely calm and confident because of the presence of your loyal companion? Not really. Despite the fact that bears may be nervous around dogs, we can't forget their size and power. The American black bear can reach a height of nearly 7 feet and weigh up to 660 pounds. If a mother bear has nowhere to run or feels that her cubs might be in danger, it's extremely possible that she will lash out, which can only mean big trouble for you or your dog. So, nobody should ever test this theory. Instead, if you're ever planning to visit an unknown area with your dog, you should first plan ahead and familiarize yourself with the wildlife you may encounter there. Because you never know what a bear will do when it notices you and your pooch, especially given their mild case of cynophobia, which is the name given to a fear of dogs. At least we were able to find one genuine fear of another animal out of these 3 tough members of the animal kingdom. Weird that a dog, something that gives so many of us such joy and comfort in our own homes, is still the creature that's brave enough to take on a bear if need be. Well, not all heroes wear capes. Some just wear fur and a dog collar. Why don't we take a look at what frightens these great companions of ours? Ever wondered why your own dog becomes uncomfortable when it hears loud noises? The degree of fear differs in each dog, but it's the simple unpredictability of thunder and flashing lightning, or loud bangs that accompany firework displays that causes your dog uneasiness. The inability to understand what's causing this deafening noise may cause your dog to tremble, tuck its tail between its legs, or even run away from home. Another thing that can really frighten our loyal pets is when we leave them all alone by themselves. This can, unfortunately, lead to being a nightmare for your next-door neighbors, because a common symptom of this fear is excessive barking. This fear may also cause problems closer to home. Ever asked yourself why your dog chewed up your sofa? Housebreaking accidents are typical when a dog has separation anxiety. You can't stay mad at your dog for long though, right? Your pooch will make it up to you when you guys run into a bear.